Welcome everyone, welcome to episode 1 of the Buddyp2p Podcast. I'm Weiji, the main host, and then we've got Leon, which is a co-host. We are both founders of Buddyp2p, and today you're watching or listening episode 1 of Buddyp2p Podcast. Today's topic, we're going to be answering some questions regarding why startups get stuck at zero. Before we start with that, we're going to start with a brief introduction. Leon, maybe you want to introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do, and basically what's your role at Buddyp2p.
Hello everyone, my name is Leon Nagel. I'm the CEO and founder of Buddyp2p, or more or less Ecobeam, which is the business which is running Buddyp2p. And mainly what I'm doing, I'm trying to mainly sell the products to partners and also build the brand from the ground up and evolve the structure to build this product.
Great, thank you very much, Leon. My name is Weiji, you can call me Wei. I'm also one of the co-founders of Buddyp2p, also called Ecobeam as well as the main business. I'm more the CEO, I'm involved in more daily operations. And guys, so this is our first episode and we'll start with the first question. So, first of all, the first question is the first thing that I want to discuss is everyone has a startup idea. Everyone says, I have this idea, I want to do this, I want to do that. But one thing that we talked before we started the podcast was a product market fit. So, Leon, for you, what would you say is the best way to find the product market fit? And in this case, how did Buddyp2p find its product market fit? And how long did it take for us to actually find it?
I think is that it's really to understand this topic, it's really good to just start to explain the actual problem. So that means that most of the founders who create a product or software, most of the times in service products, it's not that much with physical products. If you have more physical products which have an actual function, then also, but more on service products and even more on SaaS products. That means software as a service. So in this product, because Buddyp2p also is a SaaS product, what happens is that the founders, they build a product which they think is needed and they build it from their perspectives. But normally what you should do is the reverse way. So that means you talk to people who actually have the problem or could have the problem. That is the problem that your SaaS product is supposed to solve, and you talk to them what kind of solution they would like to have, and then with that information, getting it from a lot of different people. So you build clusters, you build focus groups, and then from there you just understand what the actual problem is and what would be a perfect solution for it. And then with that data, you kind of reverse engineer it back to the actual structure of where you would start building the product, and then you have completely streamlined product guideline to create a perfect product, which at the end has a higher possibility to fit to the market. But that's not really what we did. But that would be a way to do it with I would say, least possibility to not find a product market fit. Even though once you're done, you then still need to experiment and try it in the market and make adjustments, because at the end of the day, if at the beginning you talk to people and they tell you about what would be a good solution, in practice, then it's going to be different. And it's also going to be a huge difference in the experience when you talk to the people, when you then actually ask them to pay for it. Because it's easy for a person to say, yeah, this would be a good solution, or this would be great or something. But then when you put a price tag on it, people's reactions are always different when it's about money.
Yeah. Well, Leon, thanks so much. That's actually a very detailed explanation. So for the audience listening, if you're able to summarize it into a shorter way, into steps to break it down, what would you say would be the best way to find a product market fit?
Well, the best way would be, like I said, and if you do it in 2 sentences, it would be you talk to the actual people being affected by the problem. You ask them for what would be the perfect solution for it. And then this is your guideline, or should be your objective to achieve. To get a product which aims to execute in the way of the solution.
Yeah. And I think something that people should not do is assume. This is something that I learned, I think, throughout this journey, which is, of course, never assume what the consumers want or your potential customer want or how they behave. I think that's something that we did at the beginning with Buddyp2p. We assumed that if we give the platform, they're going to start publishing the parking spaces, publishing the workspaces, start booking, but that was never the case. Like, we published the platform, was out there for like 6 months. We didn't get any real proper users who actually shared it or any users who actually tried to book. So we assumed that it would work, basically just because thinking that it would work, but rather we never digged into the real problem, as Leon said, never actually talked to people about where actually the issue is, or you assume there was an issue. So okay, let's move on to the next part of this, which of course is how to actually then get the first 10 users or the first few users. Like right now we're at 0. How did we as Buddyp2p get there, and how would you recommend people to get the first 10 users?
I think this completely depends again on your market channel. Like, that means, are you doing performance marketing? Are you doing community marketing? What product are you doing? So physical product, e-commerce site, completely different to SaaS. Where are your price points? Are you talking about a 10, 20, 30 euro product? Are you talking about a service which costs 3 to 15 euros, 20 euros? Look at Uber Eats, look at Uber, look at Bolt, look at, Lieferando, whatever it is. We're talking about 10 to 30 euro maximum, maybe even below 10. Look at Amazon. Sometimes Amazon actually crazy because you have sometimes 500 euros, huge differences. So in these cases, it's difficult to have a general answer. I think it's everywhere different. But if you look at Buddyp2p, for example, where we're talking about a SaaS product, we're talking about something between 1 to 3 euros to like 20 euros, maybe in that area. But average maybe 10, 12 euros. Then I would say, what was the question?
How to get the first 10 users, basically. So like right now, like remember when we launched the platform of Buddyp2p?
If you are on like 10 euro basis, then I would focus completely, because that was what we did, is like performance marketing at the beginning, because for 10 euros you cannot do any like big, huge marketing campaigns
that's true.
At that time. So that means that you do performance marketing because it's more data driven. And then again, I would apply reverse engineering. That means you want to get first as much data, as much feedback, as much input for your campaigns to optimize them, as well as for optimizing your platform, your services. So you want to get the most feedback you can, and that you can get if you harvest the most data, and the data comes from the users. That means you need to basically offer your service, offer your products and everything in a way so it's the most accessible. So that means don't overprice, make everything really, really accessible, work with a lot of discounts, work with not only with discounts but also with like events and for example long-term benefit.
Yeah, like new offers, right?
Yeah, correct.
Like different offers,
new offers. So you get as much data, as much attention, as much input as possible, orders, and then step by step with the data you will have more and more market fit. So it means more and more you're going to target the people which are actually interested, which actually have this problem. And these people, and there we come into the concept of willingness to pay, these people have a way higher willingness, which means willingness to pay, which means basically that their limit to pay for your service, your product is higher. If you then increase the price, or if you decrease the discounts, on that case, they will not be affected by this, because they say, okay, the problem is so big, I will still pay for the service or product. But to get these people the fastest way at the beginning, I would make it more accessible. That means you launch Google Ads, Meta Ads, whatever campaigns, and say, here we have a discount, or here you can, this weekend you can get my service for 20% off, or if you get 2 of these products, or you rent this service for 5 hours, you get 2 hours for free, whatever you can, to get more data in and more traffic to then really find the target market and your product market fit, to then see that you get the people who have a higher willingness to pay. I think that is the best objective and strategy. In Buddyp2p, we didn't really do that at the beginning. Then we started doing it more and more. And I think even now we could still be way more aggressive on this point, because at the beginning, for any SaaS company as well as for any e-commerce company, the first couple of years are not there's no focus on profitability. It's first of all building your community,
getting
product market fit,
base,
and getting your user base set up. And then later on, you then increase and increase the value of your product towards your user base, and there you are going to make profit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, something that at the beginning we did with Buddyp2p was just like, okay, let's launch the campaign. The campaign was targeting everyone. You know, we were not, I mean, especially for marketplaces or anyone building a marketplace where you have supply demand, also very important to make sure you get your supply side along as your demand side. You know, that's an issue, that's a problem that we faced, that we got users, but all the users were demanding, but we had no supply.
Yeah.
So that's also very important. You know, if you want to get the first 10 users, make sure it's like 5 supply and 5 demand, or like at least a few supply and few demand. If not, you're going to have like 10 users demanding for something, but you have nothing to offer. And that's a really big mistake. And you want to achieve it for supply side, I mean, like, talking about in general, of course, try to reach out, you know, find where your suppliers are, you know, reach out to them, DM them, send them an email, visit them, you know, and if they reject you, well, there's probably other suppliers out there that you can reach out to. And that's something that we've been doing as well a lot for Buddyp2p, right? We reach out to people, say, hey, are you interested in doing this or supplying this? If they say no, we move on to the next one, and so on and so on. So, as Leon said, you know, don't be scared of doing something, rather just do it with your head, but do it, you know, like once you do it, you know the data, you know what to do with that data, and you can act on it and then improve it. So, yeah. And to close on this topic, Leon, would you say, when was the worst moment, or what was the worst thing that Buddyp2p did to acquire customers? Like something that you look back and like, oh shit, I wish Buddyp2p never did this to acquire users.
I think it's just like this, trying to get it over, I think, like unlimited budget. I think that means that going over app download campaigns, going over general performance campaigns, just any like search campaigns which are going just on the website link, and then we saw, okay, traffic is good, so therefore increase budget. I think, and then also increasing the budget on it, and we're not really knowing why it is increasing, because
or why we should increase it, right?
Yeah, also, but the fact that it's more the case is that even if it decreases, increases, stays stable, you always need to know why that is happening. You always need to understand before making a change. You need to understand why it's the case right now, and then when you change it, why are you making the change? Because, I mean, it's not always possible to know everything, but at the beginning, we also didn't really put that much effort into this reverse engineering and really understanding the customers and everything, which obviously then makes the actions really based on assumptions in marketing, and that's not good, because good marketing is, and I'm not talking about creative or creative work, I'm talking about basic streamlined performance marketing, data-driven marketing, and yeah, it's kind of a science. So that means that at the end, you should know why are you doing the things, and you should have data, and the people who can give you the most accurate data are the people who either already paid for your service, or they have a really high willingness to pay for it. So you get the data from them, because those are the people who like the service. So they are probably really similar, if not exactly like your customer persona, so target market. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now let's move on to the next topic. In this case, is a bit of background story before we start the next one. Right now we're in 2025, August already. Actually, first day of August. We started Echobeam / Buddyp2p almost nearly 4 years ago, I would say. And during that time, you know, I mean, I wasn't an entrepreneur before that. I know you did some other work, of course, but I guess since 4 years ago till now, you've learned a lot of new things as well, for start of how things operate, everything. So You find
Also
how-
because it was my
Yeah.
first experience towards consumer.
Consumer, true.
Always done raw B2B. I've always talked about, if we're talking about deals, it was about 100, 200,000 or 1 million euros. We're talking about venture deals, also all in the million areas. Margins were always in the lower percentages because it's a completely different market. And the marketing didn't exist in any of the companies. Like, because in raw B2B and raw material providing, or in any of these businesses, there is no marketing. It's direct sales, partnerships, and basically what you do is you sell your company's infrastructure. So you build supply chains. So it was completely different area, and now it's way more consumer focused, which is higher margin, but also way faster space. Like, because in the raw B2B, what you do is like you do one change and then also, well, now we adjust it for the next 10 years. And then the next 10 years, you just do completely the same. And probably the industry changed by like 1%. And in the consumer area, like Buddyp2p, for example, today we do this and in 2 weeks we do something else. Because the consumers move really fast, they get really fast bored of things, so there need to be a lot of new stuff. And at the end, the brand is 95% marketing. So it makes a huge difference there, and that's spaces where for me also a lot of things were new.
But going back to the question I was going to is, after these 4 years of experience, not only Buddyp2p, of course, you have other startups, which of course we'll talk about another time. If today you were going to start another startup, another project, what are the 5 things you would do different when you're right now a solo founder, you have the ability to find other co-founders, like other 2 or 3, and you can do whatever you want. But what are the 5 different things you would do today after your 4 years of building startups in the B2C industry?
I think if I would have like a pitch deck or a concept, and there would be people who tell me like, okay, let's do this, I would first of all go really detailed. Well, let's say I would first of all check what would be the actual product or service. I would test it myself. I would test it before building anything. If it's software, I wouldn't start building the software. If it's a physical product, I wouldn't start building anything there, not even prototype, nothing. I would first of all analyze a lot the problem itself. I would analyze a lot similar companies or other solutions that currently exist. And I would try to face the problem myself a couple times, 10, 15, 20, maybe even 50 times. And let's say, for example, I don't know, like for example, regarding the parking spaces, okay, I cannot find affordable parking space, then I would actually try to drive into a city, drive somewhere, and then actually check, okay, how is it for me to find a parking space? How much does it actually cost? Where is it? All these kind of things I would test. I would make the experience of being in a parking house. I would do like, okay, I'm in the city now the whole day. What do I do then? I'm in the city now for 2-3 days. What do I do then?
So you would like
understand
customer journeys
of the. Yeah, but in that case, it's not yet the customer journey. It's more the understanding of, is this an actual problem? Is this an actual problem, or is this more an inconvenience? Because it could be like me, for example. Okay, I have a dog, and now I got a dog, and I need to walk my dog. So, is this a problem? No, it's just sometimes an inconvenience. Because maybe you are tired or you don't want to walk your dog right now, but it's not really a problem. Like, not everything that people complain about is directly a problem that needs to be solved. Because it could be that, look at, for example, all the supermarket delivery companies. Like, they're not really hitting because people are not really considering it yet. That's such a problem. Like, there's it's an inconvenience. I need to go to the supermarket,
sometimes you can say, I'm too lazy, you order.
Correct.
But that's like sometimes 1 out of like 20 times.
Correct. But the companies thought differently. The companies, the delivery companies, they thought, okay, people don't really want to know who wants to go to supermarkets, so people are just going to order all the deliveries in the future. Maybe someday that will be the case. I have no idea. I haven't looked that much into this market. But right now, what you can see is people still prefer going to the supermarket.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. This is a part that I would really like to avoid, and to really understand why is there the problem. Would people like the solution? And for that case, I would do this journey of becoming the person who would be the customer persona.
Okay.
So that means I would become the customer persona and be that for a little bit to understand it completely from that side.
Yeah.
To later on also be able to find the customer persona way easier because I was the customer persona.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that would be
the first step. First step, sort of understand how a potential customer will do, and actually if that problem exists or if it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
What would be the second thing that you would do different if you right now would found a new startup?
I think the second thing, what I think would be really important, is I would do a complete background check on the people who I'm talking to, like the founders. I would do several work ethic checks because I'm a really high work ethic person. That means
high demand. And
I work a lot. I do everything I can. I don't finish working or say, okay, now it's weekend or something before I haven't finished my stuff. If I do, then afterwards, I don't know, I just work more. Like, in my opinion, not finishing something at a certain time is not an option. And if yes, then I'll, I don't know, cancel my vacation, don't go on vacation, or cancel my weekend, or I just don't sleep. I know that this is something that a lot of people would consider to be
too extreme,
workaholic, too extreme, whatever, but then they're not the right ones for me. That's just my opinion. So I would find out if these people are that way, and if not, then it doesn't work. And that is something that I've experienced now 1 or 2 times. The problem is that a lot of people who are like really skilled, they sometimes maybe come also from an environment where they haven't been pushed that much because they have had it always easy. Yeah. Because the thing is, if you work on a standard level, and that's not supposed to be like, how do you say, like looking down on people, but with standard level or average level, I mean like just the normal level, your 9-to-5 job, or I just go to school, go home, do something with friends, and then I don't know, play video games, and then I go to bed. Yeah, like, you know, just live your normal life. Yeah. You don't want to become something bigger or something. You just do your life. You want to have a job someday, just normal, you know, which is completely fine. But if you are then a highly skilled person, that life for you is really easy. Yeah. That means school, well, easy. Finding a job was average, well, easy. Like, it finds everything easy. And then I get you now into the high performer life. Yeah. And then you, as a highly skilled person, you're the first time in your life where you actually need to work. Yeah. Because before you haven't worked.
Yeah, it's like playing the video. If you're really good at video game, you play in easy mode.
Correct.
It's super easy.
Or playing standard mode is also easy because you're really good.
Yeah.
But if you now put on expert, then out of nowhere you need to sweat and work.
Yeah.
And that is the part where you actually realize the work ethic. Yeah. Because, and the same thing for someone who's not that skilled in something, and I put him on standard and he needs to work hard, then it's also that person should have more work ethic than the person who is highly skilled. Because the thing is, you need to see how's the work ethic at their skill level. Ask a programmer who is like tier 2, tier 3 programmer, it's like really, really good programmer, and I tell him, can you program me this, I don't know, Sudoku game or a calculator? Yeah. He will be, if he tells me, okay, well, I need 2 months, then I will tell him like, bro, what's wrong with you, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, how can you, like 2 months?
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to a programmer who is like really new and I tell him, can you just do 2 months? Then I'm just like, okay, nice, cool. In 2 months you can do this. Wow, amazing. Why? Because completely different skill level.
According to skill level, yeah.
And probably the highly skilled programmer is going to be like really chill every day. There's 1 or 2 hours of work and then he's going to finish it. And the new one, he's going to like bust so much, like 10, 12, 14, 15 hours a day, and then he's going to finish. And there, from my opinion, obviously I'm not talking about someone who doesn't have any skills. You need to have minimum skills, basic skills, and you need to be a fast learner. That always, in my opinion. But the person who has the higher work ethic, I prefer 100%. 100%. Work ethic is so important. Because it's just to build a company, to get to a point where you make money. Making money in general as an entrepreneur is just means a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, something that a phrase from yours is like, you need a lot of input, to have output.
Yeah.
Of course, if you have no input, then I mean, don't expect to have any output if there's no input in there, of course.
Like there's a lot who say like this: work smart, not hard. In my opinion, that's like the most stupidness on earth. Because the thing is, obviously you're supposed to work smart. Like you don't send, I sent to a customer an email and then I just didn't get any reply or anything. I don't think about it and just send the same email to 500 other customers. Of course, that is stupid. Like you should think about why you're not replying, what can I do better? Is there another channel to contact them? Am I contacting right? All these kind of things, yes. But also, if you do all of these thoughts and you send 2 emails to 2 customers on a Monday and then you wait 3 weeks and do nothing and see if you get any deal done, I can also tell you it's not going to happen, So, yes, obviously you need to work smart and think about everything, but input equals output. You need to have really good work ethic.
Okay. So number 1 would be, of course, identify, go through to see if it's actually a problem or inconvenience, see if there's a potential customer. Number 2, do a good background check on your co-founders, and of course make sure they have a good work ethic or a work ethic that satisfies your level. What will be number 3 in this case? How you be?
I mean, these 2 things are really good.
Yeah, these 2 things actually cover a lot of things.
Cover a lot because through work ethic you can do fix a lot of things as well.
I mean, I would add, maybe it would be not like a number 3, maybe 2.1. From my experience, if right now I would build a startup, it would be to find actually people who needs to complement the different departments. I think that's a mistake we made at the beginning between you and me. I mean, we're both business people, which is fine, of course, because we can still hire people.
If you can, yes.
But I think we have the opportunity to, let's say, find someone who's a developer to join as a founder, and we're building software. Then, of course, that's good because they can take care as a founder. They will be able to code, at least at the beginning, the basics, basic website, basic MVP and stuff, and also maybe someone who's good in marketing. So I would say finding the founder who has a skill set. Of course, it's really hard. It sounds really easy, but it's goes really hard. But of course, if before I starting and digging deeper and putting my compromise into it, that's something I would do nowadays if I would start another project. With people, of course.
I think on the tech side, yes. Like if you have some, like if you do a software and you can find a techie who is like a good developer who can become one of the founders, yes. I think in all other areas, not mandatorily. Like it's not like it doesn't need to be that way. Maybe if you do like e-commerce or something, someone who has done e-commerce before, of course, it also benefits. But they don't need to necessarily be part of the founding team. The only way I would agree is that if it's like you do raw tech, that means you develop something from scratch.
Yeah.
So not in e-commerce, because in e-commerce, I mean, you develop something from scratch, but I mean, there are a lot of e-commerce, so that means it's kind of copy paste,
Yeah.
So you're not doing something new. I mean, the actual company's product are the products which are offered on the e-commerce, and for that, if it's like pet food, or if it's food, or if it's watches or something, you don't really need a techie. That's what I mean. You can just like create it in a CMS or wherever you want. But if it is a software that you build from scratch, and then I would agree that obviously it would help a lot at the beginning. But only at the beginning, and that's the part you need to streamline down. What are you doing, But obviously at the beginning it would help, yeah.
Okay. So going back then, I'll say yeah. So right now I have 3 things, which is of course customer, to see if it's actually a problem or inconvenience. Second one will be background check on co-founders. A third one we could consider saying like finding the co-founder with the right skill set in terms of to see what you need. I mean, I'm not saying that always have a CTO or someone who's tech, but finding someone who complements the skill that you lack. Let's see. I'll try to think. Two more. Number 4, number 5. I have few things in my head. What else would you do different? I would say right nowadays.
I think, people a lot talk about, for example, business plans. I think a complementary business plan I wouldn't do, like this 30, 50 page thing, not. But
that's true.
One thing I would do is have a minimum a white paper kind of thing. So to know what will be our end objective, try to kind of define our objective in the best way. If it's, for example, the actual physical product, what should the actual physical product at the end be? And if it's a service, the same thing. Because if not, you can lose yourself really fast on the way, which is fine. If you have enough funding or enough money or in general, then you can lose yourself a little bit and you can try to figure out an experiment. But a lot of startups, they lose themselves and then just, they need to fund before even finishing product. They need to ask for funding again, and that's not nice because you don't have any revenue then. So you need to get funding after a seed, you need to get another seed before getting revenue. So that's not good. I think that would be something that I would do.
No, don't do too much business plan. Sometimes don't waste all your sort of money into one single thing, because then you would need more money, right?
Yeah, have as detailed as possible, have an idea where you want to get to, and have a little bit of streamlined plan. Also, if it's difficult, if you're doing something completely new, because you don't really know as a founder yet. That's why it's an entrepreneurial project. You're an entrepreneur because you don't 100% have everything set out yet, but try to get it as much as possible set out and never lose the objective or the actual aim, so that you don't lose yourself, because that's going to be expensive.
Yeah, and I think for me to add the 5th one, something that I think I've learned during this time is actually either it's called sort of learning by doing, or actually just do it and see how it goes, Experiment. It's that's why I say entrepreneurs are, of course, risk takers. Of course, we are risk takers. But something that at least when I started, yes, I was trying to take some risk, but it was also really careful. I was just let's say putting my toes in the water and see how it is.
And don't use theoretical proof. Also, because it's really, a lot of founders, they try to but this company has done it this way, this company has done it this way. And I'm yeah, of course, great for them and we can try it as well. But if you have another idea, just try it, even though when you're still at the beginning stage, because that's the time where you can try whatever you want. Once you already set yourself on the market, you're a known brand, etc., then you're way more limited, because you don't want to disturb the current business, affect the current customer base, etc. But at the beginning, where no one knows you yet, you can experiment a lot, and that's where you can get a lot of data, a lot of facts fast. And if you do theoretical, it's always for this company it worked, this, but you never really have the answer, does it work for us? So in that you only get through experiment and actually trying it in the real world.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
And one additional factor, which is also B, is try to go once from A to Z before starting the next line. So considering this, for example, if you do a service, or also again, if you do a physical product, try to first finish one, try to get it to the end customer, try to that the ball starts rolling, that it runs, and then if everything works and properly works, and you got really the whole cycle, you went from understanding your customer persona, building the product or the service, going through the whole journey as an entrepreneur, and then get it to the customer, starting to do some revenue. And when you went through this whole cycle, then go to the next thing, even if in addition to the service, another product, a variation of the product, whatever it is. But don't start doing something else or parallel product, service, or a variation before actually before you actually finish the cycle, because again, there it's going to be expensive. Second of all, you're going to lack a little bit in focus. And third of all, also the product market fit will get harder and the customer personas will be a little bit like mixed up. So that means in that case, it will be harder for them also to understand who you are. So that means that you always need to be a little bit careful. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Leon, so before we end today's episode, the first episode of Buddyp2p Podcast, what would be, one last question here, what would be the industry where nowadays you wouldn't recommend people to do a startup in?
I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah. So like the industry, like do not touch it because either it's bad, overly saturated. What's one industry
there's
that you...
none. I think, the industries, for example, something that a lot of people probably haven't thought about doing a startup in is, for example, the oil business. Like, I think there's not many.
Probably like, what do you mean oil? Like what kind of oil?
You become a competitor of oil factory, like of a oil drilling harvester, etc. But even there, like as an entrepreneur, in my opinion, this is like a really abstract concept now, but if you talk about oil business, if you talk about companies like Volkswagen, if you talk about, I don't know, airlines, for example, airline business, probably no one has thought about, okay, I'm going to do a startup now and raise money to be the next, low budget or next premium airline, because you need to raise probably like
a lot of money.
a lot of money, and then still you need like a lot of licenses need to get approved. Like that, it's a hassle, and even on the banking system, the same thing. There's Revolut, there's Trade Republic, N26, but they are not like physical banks.
Yeah.
So imagine there's someone who says like, okay, I wanted to go into the banking system, but they created fintechs, but they didn't like go here, opened 200 locations, put the sign on it and say, here you can withdraw cash.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a difference. They're working together with other banks as well. So what I want to say with that is that I think at the end, in every space, there is a possibility to revolutionize. Actually, in the spaces where it seems to be the most saturated and they're just big players and you need a lot of money to do something or stuff, those spaces are actually the nicest for startups, because if there are niches which are somehow interesting or you can make money, these big players, they are not going to look at it, because the thing is they are so
already busy at their own
and so settled, and they're not they don't
they're comfortable in their current.
Yeah, and they don't know what it means to have competitors also, because they're so settled.
Yeah,
that means that they're not used to this fast moving industry.
Yeah.
And I think one industry, if I wouldn't have anything to do right now, and I was just like, okay, I'm bored and I want to do a project, then I think I would look into the shipping industry. So container shipping. That means because right now there are around 6 to 7 big players in the whole world who ship every container to everywhere in the whole world, and there means all our products get moved by like 6 or 7 maximum companies. And these companies right now, it's basically monopoly. It's not, because it's more than one company, but they talk all to each other, and that industry seems to be really hard. But if a startup could revolutionize it, and I'm not talking about a service, I'm not talking about tracking containers, I'm not talking about being agency and make the container shipping easier. I'm actually talking about disrupting that industry. That would be a really, really big player.
Yeah. Or just as a reminder, editor, change the question, because he said that's the industry he would do, but the question was what he wouldn't recommend. But it's fine.
Yeah, but the thing is, at the end, what I said is that it's not possible to say that. That's what I said.
Yeah,
because at the beginning,
good,
because you cannot. There's no industry that I would not recommend. It's not about the industry. It's more about how you enter an industry. Because I think, that would mean if the industry is not recommended, that would mean that the solutions in those industries we exist are perfect. There's no mistake. The solutions are literally
100% suitable,
100% for the people, and that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't. Even Buddyp2p, if there's someone comes who says, for example, from now on, I don't know, I park my car here, and for €5 someone comes and takes my car and parks it somewhere and then brings it back, which is not possible. But let's say like a crazy, really, really good, perfect scenario, then this would also be a better product than Buddyp2p. So it's not. It's always going to be optimized, and solutions can be good, but they will never be perfect.
Okay. Well, entrepreneurs, you know it now. There's not a single industry where you can't do it, so you have no excuse to not start your journey. Find the right person. In this podcast, we talked about, of course, what you need to do to have a successful, or at least try to have a successful startup. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, follow us for episode 2, which will be coming out within I don't know how much time. And thank you, Leon. We will see Leon in some more other episodes. Something without Leon, something with Leon, and we'll have more guests in the future episodes. And see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Time is it?
You've got 3 minutes.
They're gonna really think that I smile a lot.
And no, the first half of your podcast, you were like,
Yeah.
and then later I think you realized it started to have more facial expression.
No, like the thing is, I don't have that much facial expression.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do something like edit the entire clip, record it to YouTube or something, and then what I'm gonna do is from this long video, use take out clips, upload to YouTube Shorts, and link it, upload to Instagram or TikTok, and then this will be also the content I'm gonna use. And this
Maybe when you did the videos and clips, you can send to me first so we can check.
Yeah. And my plan is to do it once every month with a guest or someone, and if we record a minute video, probably 40 minutes, we'll have a shitload of clips I can use.
Yeah.